Next on Worcester News Tonight, police are investigating the sudden death of a 2-year-old girl in the city. And an airman arrested on 2 prior drunk driving offenses now faces charges in a fatal hit-and-run crash. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kayla Mamalak. Worcester police are investigating the death of a 2-year-old girl. She was found unresponsive at her home this morning. The incident happened on the 2nd floor of this apartment complex on Wellington Street. The investigation is still active and police have not yet determined the cause of death. Monica Medea has our report.
I want to freak, I want to yell, I want to cry.
A 2-year-old girl is dead and a Worcester family in mourning as investigators spend the night taking photos, combing through the 2nd floor apartment she was found unresponsive in. This man says he is the child named Gigi's uncle.
She was a big tomboy, loved her brother, loved her sister, loved her aunts and cousins. She was a very well-loved child. My sister, she's a great mother. And for this to happen is a very sad tragedy that we need to get to the bottom of and find out what the hell happened.
Worcester police say the child was discovered unresponsive around 11:30 this morning in this apartment here on Wellington Street. The child's mother was home. This man was visiting. It says he called 911.
When she came to me and I saw her, she was purple. She was pale. She was not responsive in the eyes. I was looking at her eyes and it looked like the life was leaving her eyes.
Emergency responders tried to revive her. Despite their efforts, she was pronounced dead at the hospital. Throughout the day Monday, investigators entered and left the apartment. At one point, a woman and man left in tears.
This is caught us out of the blue.
Family and friends in shock with many questions because they say the child was healthy and just helped celebrate her sister's birthday Sunday. Pastero says his sister and the children moved into this apartment to be with his mother.
They were staying with them, trying to better themselves. Now we just got one more thing to push it back, I guess.
And an airman is held without bail in a hit-and-run accident that killed a Worcester woman Saturday night. Police say Daniel Depew was driving drunk on Lincoln Street when he hit the woman and her brother. Our Andy Madison was in the courtroom today and has details on the case.
Daniel Depew appeared before a judge Monday, 2 days after being arrested for a hit-and-run accident that took place on Lincoln Street and took the life of Gina Burdick.
Injury and death.
Depew stared straight ahead as the court read the charges against him. Prosecutors also detailed for the court Saturday's deadly accident.
A vehicle that appeared to be a black Dodge Charger had driven by, struck these 2 individuals, propelling them in the air and dragging one of the complaining witnesses under the vehicle for a period of time. The vehicle subsequently left the scene.
Police say Burdick was unloading groceries with her brother when they were hit. Officers caught up with Depew on West Street a short time later and took him into custody.
It was a pretty horrific scene. Clearly this individual should not have been driving.
Authorities also say it isn't his first arrest. Neighbors we spoke with were sad to hear Burdick was killed.
There's too many hit and runs these days. I'm glad they caught that person. Kids walking up and down the streets. It could have been a kid that got hit.
It's time that everyone starts, looking left and right and being careful crossing the streets.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Depew is being held without bail. Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
Thanks, Andy. And a mayoral debate took place tonight at Mechanics Hall with a little more than a month until the November election. The event was open to the public and hosted mayoral candidates Bill Coleman, Michael Gaffney, and Joseph Petty. Candidates were asked a series of questions on their plans to help the city. They addressed topics such as the opioid problem, homelessness in the city, and the budget.
It's called prioritizing. Okay, the reality is, in the past, over many years, we've had councilors who've said, we don't have funding, we can't do it. We don't have funding, we can't do it. And then years later, when we attempt to do something, we play catch up at a cost of 2 or 3 times the original speculation.
We need to prioritize, first off, the safety on our streets. With regards to funding for our police, we passed a $22.6 million budget, but only put an increase of $22.6 million increase in budget, but only put an increase of $154,000 to our police.
So it's not a matter of subtracting. It's really a matter of really taking the budget and looking at it as a whole. And public safety is a big issue. And it's always been a priority. We put in probably over $1 million in the Worcester Police Department this year with the new class and some equipment that we put out there for the Worcester Police.
Worcester's municipal election will be held November 3rd. A Hardwick woman accused of abusing her boyfriend's 7-year-old son appeared in court today. She was ordered to be held on $200,000 bail. This and several high-profile missteps by the DCF has the agency facing a handful of reforms, including the reestablishment of a regional office in Worcester. Allison King has more on that story.
What's different here is frontline workers are going to be part of the process from the beginning.
That's Social Worker Union President Peter McKinnon just after leaving the State House news conference in which Governor Charlie Baker laid out his plan to revamp the culture and policies at the troubled Department of Children and Families, an agency under fire following a series of high-profile tragedies.
The work that will be done from this point forward will focus on one major objective: to keep kids safe.
The new policies include Corey checks in all cases as opposed to the current 70%, a review of all 911 calls to the home, and a better assessment of the parent capacity to care for the children.
DCF often struggles with mission confusion, and some of its issues and problems stem from this dynamic, not from this point forward.
Mission confusion, including over the agency priority, keeping families together or keeping children safe. DSF Commissioner Linda Spears reinforced that there will be no more confusion.
You don't do one or the other. You keep children safe first and foremost. And then, if that can be done by strengthening a family, great. If it can't, no.
Most encouraging for child advocates, the quote, unprecedented collaboration between SEIU Local 509, the social workers union, which has been highly critical of DCF management for over a decade, and the Baker administration. The union has been pleading for lowering the social worker caseload from a ratio of almost 21-to-1 to 18-to-1. Baker is on board.
I'm saying that if we need to increase funding to get the caseload down to 18-1, we will.
There seems to be a real sincere desire to not do another commission to study the problems, but to look at what's already been studied and put it into action.
The changes Governor Baker has called for are expected to be in place by the end of November. For Worcester News Tonight, I'm Allison King.
And firefighters in Rutland battled a difficult fire in a home on Brintle Drive today. The flames broke out around noon. Fire crews from several nearby towns were called in to help put out the flames. Authorities asked people to avoid the area because the road was blocked off. A local barbershop owner is hanging up his shears after more than 60 years. Sam Kazarian has been cutting hair at his barbershop on Chandler Street since 1954. He's retiring today, and Eric Aisi shares his story tonight.
Sam Kazarian is giving a classic neck shave for the very last time. He's closing up Sam's barbershop after 61 years of giving trims, fades, and crew cuts to the Worcester community.
I do it the way I want to do it.
He says his wife isn't feeling well, and at 86 years old, he wants to spend more time with her.
I'll be home with my wife. I told her, don't start giving me too many orders, you know, or I'm back in there.
The Chandler Street shop opened its doors in 1954. Kazarian says he learned how to be a barber after serving in the Korean War.
My brother-in-law was a barber. And he says, why don't you go to barber school? You're going to get paid for it. Not much, but the government. And if you don't like it, it's 6 months. So I went, but when I come out, I liked it.
The shop wasn't only a place to get a quick trim, but also a hub of great conversations. Kazarian is a Worcester native, but he's a New York Yankee fan, which he says gets his clients talking, debating, and laughing.
Being a Yankee fan, but I was also a Ted Williams fan, who was a Red Sox, but he's the only Red Sox I was.
James DeZangerman has sat in this chair once a month for the past 25 years. He says it's going to be hard to find someone as good as Kazarian.
Pleasant surroundings, very nice, friendly.
Clients stop by Sam's barbershop to bid him farewell, but he says his hair cutting services might just be a phone call away.
They all took my number. They said, if we need a haircut, will you come and give it? I goes, maybe.